Imagine your heart is racing. Imagine being so nervous that you have barely been able to eat for days. Imagine knowing that everything in your entire career comes down to this one moment. We all have a different version of a gold medal, and success looks different to everyone. But we can all use the same strategies to reach our gold medal moment and seize it. But I'll share a part of the story that led me to being the only Olympic athlete in the history of the Games who has both won the Olympics and nearly died while competing at the Olympics. Just like in the world of the Olympics, most people's careers will be defined by a couple of key moments and how they perform in those moments. It all starts by clearly identifying your gold medal moment. As you work towards it, understand that every single decision that you make, no matter how small it may seem, matters. I won the first gold medal in the history of the sport for the United States of America. Now, when you look at this gold medal, you don't see everything that it is and what it consists of. Here's a little known secret that the Olympics doesn't like us talking about. It's been over 100 years since Olympic gold medals were actually made of gold. Modern day Olympic gold medals like this are actually made of over 90% silver, with a coating of just 6 grams of gold around the outside layer. And I think that's a perfect representation, because when you watch the Olympics, you see the perfect race. You see the perfect routine, the perfect game, and you see the goal finally achieved. But what you don't see is how long that athlete has been working towards that goal. You don't see all the decisions and sacrifices that were made to get there. And while the final product might look and be golden, the process to achieve it is not pure gold. If you're going to win an Olympic gold medal, coming home to Las Vegas is the way to do it.
Tonight, where one of our Las Vegas Olympians is seriously hurt on the BMX track.
Connor Fields with the inside line in the red, white, and blue. Bike number 11. He will get the whole shot. Big action on the outside and a pile-up as Connor Fields goes down, connecting up with the Dutch and the French, and that will open things up.
It's just so heartbreaking to see. Connor went down on the BMX track, knocked unconscious in some images that are really hard to see. In those awful moments, crews rushed to the track. We can tell you they took Connor away in an ambulance.
Now all attention really turning to the defending Olympic gold medalist Connor Fields from Henderson, Nevada, going down hard. And Connor Fields being taken off the track right now on a stretcher. But the defending Olympic gold medalist Connor Fields crashing hard in the first turn and unable to get up and walk off.
And just like in so many other aspects of life, it can be so easy to focus on the one thing that you don't have, the one thing that you came up short on, the one negative thing somebody said to you, rather than focus on everything you do have. It takes a conscious effort to wake up every day and to make the choice to be thankful. But whether you succeed or come up short, don't ever lose perspective of what is really important in life. Thank you. There are 20,000 people here watching me, 3 billion at home. Everything I've ever wanted comes down to this moment. And I was as calm as I am on the couch at home watching TV. Shh. Silence. Silencio, por favor. The arena goes quiet. You can hear a pin drop. Now remember that moment that we keep coming back to, that moment we talked about earlier? This time, I made it my moment. The next 34.642 seconds would unfold in a way that I couldn't have scripted, or even Steven Spielberg or Hollywood could have scripted. I had the best start of my life, and I shot into the lead. But because I was starting on the outside of the grid, I was beat to the first turn by another rider. As we rounded the first corner, I realized who it was. It was the other American. And I am now faced with the most difficult question I could possibly be posed with in this situation. Do I attempt to pass my teammate and run the risk of crashing him, myself, or the absolute worst, both of us? And now I'm the reason why the US went from a gold, silver to nothing? Or do I just sit back and take a silver medal? I mean, a silver medal in the Olympics is pretty good, right? But in that moment, I didn't even blink. Forget whoever it was. I don't care. I did not go through years of hard work, pain, broken bones, dedication, depression. My parents didn't give up everything to give me this opportunity. My coaches, my supporting staff, they didn't do everything just so I could sit back and settle, even for second place at the Olympics. So I attacked. And I was able to advance past my teammate without interfering with him or taking either of us out. As I rounded the final turn, I realized I'm winning the Olympics. And in that moment, I told myself, focus, concentrate it. And I was able to lock back in and make it around the last corner. Now imagine crossing the finish line and becoming Olympic champion. Imagine stepping up onto that podium as they raise the United States flag and play your national anthem. Imagine turning around and seeing your father in the stands, man who drove you to every practice and every race when you were a kid, crying his eyes out. Imagine trying not to cry yourself because you don't want to become the next internet meme. And imagine that feeling of pulling an Olympic gold medal around your neck. When I sat in the starting line, I was prepared. I was more prepared than I was in London. Same goal, but this time I had learned. This time I had overcome. As I rounded the first turn, I thought about settling. Some of us may know what that feels like, to settle for less than you could possibly achieve. Never settle. As I rounded the last corner, I lost focus, however briefly. Some of us may know what that feels like, taking your eye off the ball at the last moment. The deal is not done until it is signed. The race is not over until you are across the finish line. Now of the whole thing, I thought one of the most interesting decisions was what my coach decided to say to me in those final moments. Usually in those final moments, one of the things they would say is maybe a word of support or a tactical, something to focus on. Usually reminding, hey dude, remember last time you were here and you screwed up? That's usually probably not the tactic people would go with. So I asked my coach, why? Why did you choose to say this? And he explained to me that in this moment, he believed that that was the most powerful thing that I could hear. He believed that I would use it to remind myself of everything that I had learned and everything that I had overcome on this journey between A and B, between London and Rio. This is my story, and it's still being written. But throughout my athletic career, I have found G, O, L, and D to be the four most important ingredients to be successful. You have to clearly know what it is that you want, your goal. You have to be prepared to overcome. You have to be open and receptive to learning. And without determination holding everything together, none of it works. Now at my venue in Rio, there was a fence line separating the grandstands and the athlete area. And this is a place where the athletes could interact with fans or friends and family. About 5 minutes after I crossed the finish line, I was told by one of the assistants, hey Connor, your dad is over at the fence line. He wants to see you. So I walked over there. And I just crossed the finish line a couple minutes ago. I'm in shock. I cannot speak. I can't form words. And we can't hug, we can't embrace because of this fence. So we hold hands through the fence like this. And we put our heads together. And he's able to say one thing. He says, Connor, you wrote it on the wall and you made it come true. What do you have written on your wall? Thank you. So now began the 18-month-long rehabilitation process to get my life back. Now began the process of regaining my balance, relearning how to drive and repassing my driver's test, and relearning how to speak properly. But my mindset never changed. These were just new goals, new decisions that would have to be made. And so I attacked that rehabilitation process with just as much intensity as I attacked trying to win the Olympic gold medal that nearly killed me. Through hard work and an amazing team of people around me, my recovery was miraculous. I am so thankful that I can stand here today. And it shouldn't take a near-death experience to put that level of perspective back into your life. And I hope you can take from this that while it's important to set goals, it's important to go after those achievements, don't ever lose perspective of what is truly important in life. In May of 2021, the International Olympic Committee conducted a survey, and they found that 45% of Olympic athletes struggled with anxiety, depression, and their mental health after retiring from sport. Half of all the people that we watch on TV every 4 years and that we idolize every 4 years struggle when they have to move on. And you have to imagine that if that's the number for the Olympians, that number is going to be similar to anyone dealing with loss, failure, or a major change. There should not be a stigma around half of everybody you know at one point in their life having to overcome that. My name is Connor Fields, and I'm a 3-time Olympian and the only American to win a gold medal in the sport of BMX. When I was 7 years old, my mom found a flyer advertising the local BMX racing track. She said, hey, maybe this will help my kid burn off some energy. So we went out and I tried it, and from day number 1, I was hooked. A few years later, 2005, the International Olympic Committee voted to include BMX racing into the Olympics. And BMX racing was the very first action sport that was added into the Summer Olympic Games. I was 12. I don't know what the Olympics is really. I just know it is that time every 4 years when your parents yell at random sports on TV. When I was 15, 2008, I watched BMX racing make its Olympic debut in Beijing, China. I stayed up all night. It was like 3 a.m, and I just thought it was the coolest thing that I have ever seen. The colors, the track, the riders, then I watched them receive medals. I just decided right there, this is what I want to do. And the next day, I grabbed a Sharpie and I wrote on my parents' garage wall that one day I would become national champion and one day become Olympic champion. At the time, my goal was to try to make it in 2016 where I'd be 23. I thought 2012 and I'd be 19 was too soon. But things happened really quick. I dedicated myself. I would go to the gym before school. I'd go to school. I'd go straight to practice after school. I woke up every day with one goal, and that was to be the best BMX racer I could possibly be. And before I knew it, I was 19 years old and I was about to be the youngest rider in our event at the London Olympics. I wasn't going just to show up. I didn't want a participation certificate, which is what you get if you get 4th or worse at the Olympics. And before I knew it, I blinked and I'm getting ready for the finals in London at the Olympic Games at 19 years old. I've got an amazing shot to win this race, and then the inexperience hit me. I was overwhelmed by that moment of knowing what was on the line. It was over. I just finished 7th place. I'm watching the guys who got top 3 celebrate, go nuts, having a great time. And I walk back to the Team USA area, I change, and I just had this big moment of, okay, now what? There's not another chance tomorrow, not another chance next year. You gotta wait 4 years to maybe have another shot. Getting into 2016 Olympic year, everything was going great. I won the national championships, I was performing well at World Cups, and on April 1st, on April Fool's Day in 2016, I shattered my wrist in 4 pieces. The doc explained that I would miss all the remaining events, I'd miss the Olympic trials, and that maybe, in the best case scenario, I'd be healthy enough to race the Olympics. 2 months after I got my surgery, I received a call from the Olympic team and they said, hey, we'll give you a discretionary nomination. So I called the doctor, I said, hey, here's what's going on. He explained legally, I can't clear you, but if you hit it again, if you land and you plant your hand down, you're toast. So I had a decision to make and nobody around me pressured me, it was all on me, and I thought about it for about 30 seconds. I said, I'm going. I'm not gonna wait 4 years for this one shot and then not even try. And I had 8 weeks of training between then and the Olympics. I advanced all the way back to the final, and I'll never forget what my coach said to me right before that final. Hey, do you remember London? And do you remember how you felt every day since then? This is your chance to fix it. I had the race of my life, and when I rounded the first corner, I saw that it was my teammate. It was the other American in the lead. You know, that puts you in the absolute hardest position you could be, because that's my teammate, a friend of mine that I've known for 15 plus years in front of me. Do I try to pass him and I throw away the silver because I'm getting greedy? But in that moment, I didn't even blink. I was going for it. Like I'm not riding with a broken arm. I'm not going through all of this stuff to get to this chance just to settle. I was able to advance past him and not affect his race, my race, and win the Olympics. Crossing that finish line was every positive emotion you could possibly have turned up to volume 10. Okay, now I reached that mark. Now I do it. I'm the Olympic champion. I just reached my lifetime goal at 23 years old. Now what do? You know, every athlete wants to go out on top. But I'm 23. Physically, I'm in the prime of my life. There's another Olympics in a few years. I'll go for it again. I've got so much more experience. I've had a good Olympics. I've had a bad Olympics. I've had a pre-games injury. I've had another 4 years of racing on top of the previous 8 years of professional racing. There's nothing I haven't seen before. And then came COVID. So it was uncharted territories for everybody. What am I gonna do for income, my job? You know, everybody's got that stuff going on. As we got into 2021, I was excited. Training went as well as it could have. I was in the best shape of my life. I boarded that flight to Tokyo, ready to go. The whole summer of 2021 is blurry to me, but I do know, and I have some memory, that I absolutely crushed it on the first day, the quarterfinal day in Tokyo. I won my quarterfinal. The morning of Olympic finals day comes around, and I asked one of the Team USA coaches if we were on a rain delay or what was going on. And he said, yep, we're on a rain delay. I'll come and get you when it's time to get going. And then I woke up alone in a hospital bed, covered in bandages, nobody there, no idea how I got there, feeling horrible, and my phone's sitting next to me. And everything hurts. It hurts to move. I reach over, I grab my phone, 500 text messages, CNN, Fox, BBC, ABC, NBC, every major news outlet covering this story about this Olympic BMXer involved in a terrible accident. And as I'm scrolling, I catch up and I see the video. Oh geez, that doesn't look very good. The doctor comes, explains what's happening, explain that I had 4 brain bleeds. They're on standby, about to cut a piece of my skull out, but luckily the swelling started to go down. Collapsed lung, broken ribs. I had no control of what I would say because I injured the part of my frontal lobe, the part of your brain that controls impulse. I spent the next 5 or 6 days, in the ICU, fading in and out of sleep. And that I'd have to remain there until it was stable that I could fly, and they weren't worried about, the brain bleeding again on the flight. My parents were trying to get over to Japan. They watched it on TV at home. It went all the way up the chain to the US ambassador to Japan. And because of their COVID restrictions and everything being so strict, the compromise was if I died, my father would be allowed into the country to escort my body home. And he had to take that call. We're not gonna let you in. We're not gonna let you come sit by the bedside table of your son as he potentially dies. But if he does, you can escort his body home. Finally get cleared to fly home and go straight to brain rehabilitation, where we did a comprehensive testing to find out kind of where I was lacking, what was going on. And from there, I had to rebuild. And the scariest part was that they couldn't tell me, you're gonna be okay. It's not a broken bone where they can say, 4 to 6 weeks and you'll be okay. It's a brain. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. So they said, just do your best, stick to the plan, and pray. And so after about 12 months, I had my checkup for my brain injury, and they basically said, hey, look, we're not gonna tell you can't do anything. What we are gonna tell you is your brain can't take a hit like it used to. What would have been a mild concussion before is gonna be more severe now. Think like a boxer at the end of their career. So when I was cleared, I had to decide, do I wanna take the risk? The Olympics is only 3 years away because there was the delay, and I was 15 minutes away from the final. I fell in the final semifinal. Do I want to go out that way? Do I want my last race after 23 years, after being the most successful American in my sport, the last time I leave the track on a bodyboard? Or do I want to try to come back and try to go to the Olympics? It's only 2 years away now at this point because I just got cleared. But ultimately, I decided that there's so much more to life than winning Olympic gold medals. And I want to have a healthy brain for the rest of my life to do whatever it is that I choose to do. But now that it's over and now that I've had some time away, I'm thankful I made the decision that I made. I'm proud of everything that I achieved. And what I learned through the highest of highs down to the lowest of lows is indispensable. It's unbelievable what I've been able to learn, and to have the opportunity to share that and hopefully help people skip the part of thinking that life is all about a result and that every day above ground is something to be thankful for. You shouldn't wait until you have a near-death experience to know that. My message is universal. It applies to anybody in any industry who wants to achieve better for themselves. If you'd like me to come and speak for your business, your association, or your convention, feel free to reach out. I'd love to talk.